Yo, what's going on guys? My name's Valric and today I want to be talking about the Dev Skills nerf and more importantly the bigger picture that kind of paints, at least in my opinion, regarding Jagex mainly listening to high-end PVMers versus the medium/low skilled players that also interact with PVM, and that this affects a lot more than the higher end players, at least in my opinion. And yes, I do know and I do understand that Necromancy is very powerful and that it's definitely needed some sort of nerf when it came to the dev skills. Although, did it? Right? Did it really? Well, we're going to be talking about it, so if you're going to enjoy this video, leave a like, join in the discussion in the comment section down below, subscribe if you're new, we're trying to get to 5k by the end of the year, and check me out on Twitch, I'm live every single day at 5 PM game time. So, let's get into it. So, first things first, what is a nerf exactly? Well, Jagex describes it as damage would unintentionally scale up with every bounce. Pretty much from what I've understood from reading some things on Twitter and on Reddit and in PVME and whatever, whenever you would hit your dev skulls, it should roll your vulnerability bombs, your undead slayers, yeah, pretty much like everything that you have that can give you a small buff, right? But it shouldn't roll all those damage buffs that increase on the second bounce. So when it bounces to you and bounces back to the mob, it would re-roll all those buffs again, making the hit higher before the nerf, and now after the nerf, it is working as intended, because that's how it was intended beforehand, it was announced beforehand. That is all completely fine, and that's kind of why I said, like, it made sense for them to nerf it, but I still feel like it's something that is a bit out of touch when it comes to PVM, because it doesn't really affect anything, which I know doesn't really stronger my argument, but it affects one boss in particular. One boss that is annoying to do as it is, and becomes even more annoying now. And yes, it's Rashul. And Rashul obviously drops the tier 95 weapons and armor. And it was very easy to get it. And they said, at least on Twitter, that they're okay with it being easy because, well, they designed Necromancy to be the beginner style and be very friendly for people to get their gear. So that also means that it's friendly for them to get their gear on their own. And that just kind of confuses me because, sure, this nerf or, well, rebalance or fix or however you want to call it was needed overall in the game because it generally was broken. And I think that things should function as proper as it's designed as. But then again, tendrils didn't function as they were designed as because they crit every single time, and now it's a gameplay mechanic. So why nerf dev skulls when you can buff anything else as well? Because if you don't know, Jagex is working on a 30k hit cap increase, which pretty much right now with Necromancy you can hit up to 30k, but no other style can do. I think the max hit with other styles is 15k or 12k without the Grimoire. And you can't hit higher than that. So obviously Necromancy will automatically be better because it has higher hits. And if other styles get that increase, which they're going to be testing, I feel like it will be on par with everything else. So, are they going to be nerfing other abilities then as well? I don't know. Maybe. What if they nerf Greater Ricochet again? Or, you know, another ability that you actually need to pay money for? Then, is that really fair? Like, I understand from a game balancing point of view, right? That's good. But my main thing is sure, it has an impact on high-end players, and I do think that that's good, right? Like, I do think that, you know, the high-end people shouldn't just be able to farm bosses in one tick. I think that's stupid, right? But it mainly also affects the lower skilled and medium skilled players. I think Necromancy especially had a nice progression where you would just, you know, learn your rotations on Hermod, and then you would take that to Rashul, and you'd be able to take on Rashul with your Necromancy gear. Now, even I, who have done 700 kills, struggle to get my kills now if I don't fully 100% focus and try my bollocks off. And I feel like that from going to a boss where I could chill, read chat and just, you know, not pay good attention, which also is not good, to a boss where if I lose focus for 1 second, especially in the final phase, I will not be able to get the kill. I think that's too much, and that could be a skill issue, and I know people will probably think like, oh yeah, you're just complaining because you're bad. No, I don't care. I can still get my kills. I can still get my money. Like, I'm just looking at it from a lower skilled player's perspective, because I'm medium, I would say. And for them, this boss was quite accessible. It was still difficult, and now it will just become more difficult. And that kind of just makes me think, are they just focusing too much on the high-end PVMers and kind of forgetting the low-end PVMers. Because Necromancy is designed to be that learner skill, as I said before, where it's difficult to master and it will be fun for high-end PVMers. But maybe they made a mistake there. Maybe they shouldn't have made it difficult to master for high-end PVMers and should have made it quite simple to master and it being accessible for everyone, which I guess it is to a certain extent, at least in my opinion. I don't think it's that difficult, but then again, it's difficult for me to look at it from a perspective where people, you know, don't know how to do rotations and combine abilities and have people to tell them what to exactly do, because obviously whenever I stream, I get people to tell me exactly which button to press, when I need to press those buttons, and I get it, but I feel like it's sometimes just the focus is there. Like with the Fracture Staff of Armadale, it made sense, right? Because you need to do like 6 abilities, then you need to spam 1 ability until you ran out of your spec. That's not good, right? Like that, I don't think that's good. But with this, it just feels like a nerf on something that's very powerful just makes no sense. Because from what I understand, it doesn't really make a huge difference at other bosses. It just makes a huge difference at Racial. Or racial, or however you want to call it. I call them racial. Pretty much the tier 95 necromancy boss. And that just makes me think, is that just too focused on the people that got 55 seconds to 60-second kills at racial? Or is it actually better for the health of the game? Because I feel like something being more powerful makes it easier for people to take on bosses. And isn't that exactly what you wanted to achieve with necromancy? And now you're making it more difficult for those people again. And It does bring up the argument of like, oh yeah, why do they nerf it like a month after release? Of course, I do understand it from that perspective. Like the Fracture of Armadale was weird because it was like a year and a half. But with this, like they needed some time to see data and to see how it actually works and if it was actually as powerful as people claimed it to be. I get it. Like that's, at least in my opinion, not an issue. But then again, I do feel like it's an issue that mainly impacts the lower end of skilled players and less so the higher end skilled players. Because I see the people that I know that know how to do PVM get 5-second or 10-second less kill times at Racial. I spent an hour yesterday or half an hour yesterday and an hour again today, and my kill times are worse on average by 20 to 25 seconds, and I'm doing the exact same thing. I tried doing my rotation differently. I tried following other people's rotations. It's just not working. Like, it's just not working for me, and it's very sad to see, and I feel like it's just hurting Necromancy, in my opinion, because Necromancy went from a style where this kind of sounds crazy, with 2.5 bill, or maybe 3 bill, you would have best in slot, where other styles you would just maybe have like 2 items to be able to take on whatever bosses. And it just makes me sad to see that a style that was accessible even from a monetary point of view, which I know sounds crazy because it's a lot of money for a lot of people, became a style that now is just monetarily wise still very accessible, but just skill level wise, especially at the boss where you're supposed to be getting it, it's just lower. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like, it just feels, it doesn't feel good. I think that's like my main issue. Like, it just simply doesn't feel right. Like, it feels like it's just, oh, let's make sure that the high-end people can't farm this boss too quick enough, but if that affects lower skill players, whatever. That's kind of what it feels like. Couldn't they just made that change, but still have it work on Racial? Because Racial wasn't supposed to be difficult. It should have been accessible. At least that's what they wanted it to be able to have everyone take it on and get their gear. And this feels just contradictive. I don't get it, man. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think, and join the discussion. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new. My name's Velric. See you guys in my next video.